Does the swing fan help you increase clubhead speed? In this video, I'm going to show you how the swing fan can be used effectively to help practice better to increase that clubhead speed and hitting distance. I'm going to show you some key movement drills that I use that help you interact with the ground better, feel how to utilize your bigger muscles, and apply more force into the clubhead. So after getting warmed up, hitting a few balls, you're just going to test some drivers. Only need 4 or 5 to get an idea of where your clubhead speed is at that current moment. Naturally, you want to hit these quite hard, probably a little bit above playing speed, because you want to see where that higher end is currently. So 114, 116, and 114 again. So that just gives us a really simple average. And now we're going to go into some speed drills with the fan to help increase that force output. So the principles behind the swing fan is essentially, because it's going to apply more resistance in that downswing, essentially we're going to have to work harder, create more force, more energy to overcome that resistance. This is known as overspeed training. We see this in other forms of training with the speed sticks, where we're using a heavier object to essentially, if we apply that more force with that, when we go back to a lighter object, i.e. the golf club, we'll then have more force at impact that will come out as clubhead speed. However, the difference with the swing fan versus a heavier speed stick is what the feeling will be created and how you have to overcome that movement. Because there's going to be much more resistance, and essentially we're not trying to release the club or anything like that, like with a speed stick, the motion is slightly different. So golfers often get a different awareness and different feeling of where force can and should be created from. When you first swing this, if you have poor sequence, poor ground reaction forces, if we just kind of swing the arms, this club, or so this fan, will feel like it's pulling you away, so almost pulling you forward, and it will be quite easy to lose stability and control and balance. What we're looking for is how can we create big force in the transition to then be able to keep that resistance tight to the body, so we can almost pull that handle in and impart some control through the release. So with a key drill here, I call this like the Tommy Fleetwood drill, where we almost feel like we're trying to have a cut-off follow-through. What this promotes is that ability to push in and out the ground and rotate around the lead hip more effectively, keeping some connection. So the extra resistance, in order to do this and create power and high force, you can't just pull with the hands and arms like you could do with a lighter club and overpower it. You have to learn to sequence better. So from here, we're going to try and swing as hard as we can, push, and then keep this connected. So you see how the core's connected. There's loads of force there. The resistance is pulling me out of position, but because I've essentially created more force by pulling that handle in and round with my lower body and my hands, I'm able to keep that connected and stable. So the drill is normal swing, feel the cutoff, core tight, hard as you can. And we're going to do 6 to 8 repetitions as hard as possible. So now we've done this overspeed training, where essentially our muscular system has got used to having to create more force, and how we interact and traction the ground. We're going to go back to the driver. What I would always recommend is just doing a few swings first, because that sequence and that feel will feel very bizarre. This can feel so light that you can almost be massively off balance, but in many ways that's kind of what we're looking for. So I'm going to hit 3 more drivers. Max clubhead speed last time 116, with an average of about 114, 115. So let's see if this has made any instant change. Okay, I'm not going to look at that speed, but that felt quick, because that feels like there's a lot of energy there. Okay, 119, so it's gone up 3 miles an hour instantly. And I've done nothing different there, or certainly consciously nothing different. But what did feel good is I could feel some better sequencing automatically, because I knew what that felt like dynamically. That felt a terrible move, but from a speed perspective, again, 120. So I've just chucked another 4 miles an hour on. So I'm going to feel this even harder, see if we can get it up. And 119. So that's 119, 120, 119. That's 3 to 4 miles an hour quicker than my max in literally 2 minutes. Let's have another look at some other drills and see if we can get any more on that, or whether that's just helped me actually maximize my current speed potential through just probably engaging the muscular system and the nervous system in a more effective way. As I've highlighted there straight away, we can increase speed through the right drills, but we need to reinforce that. We don't want to just get to more where we're currently at and achieving our maximum of what our potential is. We want to achieve beyond that. We want to retrain that nervous system to be able to create more force, more effort into the club. So the key takeaway to that first point is we've got to make sure, even if we don't do this particularly well in the golf swing at this moment in time, is we don't just try and swing the arms as hard as possible. We create that feeling of pushing out the ground and keeping the core connected. So if we drive it as hard as possible with the rotation, we'll get more of that. Secondly is how we push out the ground is going to have a big impact on how much clubhead speed we are able to create. So a really, really good drill we can do here is help promote that motion. So if I go into the top of my backswing and essentially squat down as low as I can, or within reason, enough where we're not going to hit the ball or the ground. So here, from here, I'm going to have to try and get up as quickly as possible and swing through. So in slow motion, we're going to go there, there. But then we're going to try and do that dynamically. So it's the ability to jump out the ground and turn. Yes, you see how dynamic and athletic that motion is? It's quite excessive, but it's that ability to create explosive force vertically and then pull the arms through for space. And that's much better control. You can see how I've got out of the ground and keep the same sort of connection. And there I've got a little bit more rhythm and pumping motion. And now, again, 5 or 6 with these ones because it should be done with max intent. And then you're simply going to have a little breather, enough to catch your breath because it should be high intensity because we're working explosive power. And then we're going to go back into hitting some more balls. Okay, and similar before, because we've been applying that much higher resistance, we'd probably just want a few swings to feel, because that club head or that club itself is going to feel extremely light now. And even just doing that motion, just to get a feel for it. So I'm just going to hit 3 more balls here. We're going to see if that changes or increases that speed even more. What I will say straight away is holding the club feels incredibly light, like I've got so much more power or speed to give. Let's see if I can show that. I've gone at that pretty hard, not a very good swing, 119. If anything, that felt like my sequence was out, but the speed felt like it was there. 121, so I believe that's my highest. So as we start to kind of get to the higher end, increasing by 1 mile an hour actually is quite a lot. And then final one, and 119 again. So again, what we've showed there is more potential to be had. This is obviously done in a short format, but the average went up to 119.7 for those last 3, which considering the first set was about 114 just over, that's comfortably 6 mile an hour added. Now what that can show is 2 things here really. Number 1, we need to warm up properly at the beginning, because if we're doing the fan drill and essentially we gain more speed just because essentially we've engaged more, it's almost kind of added an extra warm-up, we're not going to get necessarily a true representation of what we're doing. Even though that's not necessarily a bad thing, it just doesn't give as clear a picture. Secondly is because we're doing a lot of explosive work, we've got to keep the reps pretty low, good rest periods, and focus on the quality of the movement with high intent rather than just lots of repetitions and volume. So overall, for me personally as a tool, I think the swing fan's great for learning how to utilize the ground better, how to sequence better, and how to apply more force into the club head if done correctly. If you want access to the speed fan, click the link above and use the code for discount. If you want more options of how to train speed with both the swing fan and other tools, you can access my golf fitness app that gives you a good range of exercises, routines, and speed biomechanics through clicking here.